Welcome to your IBMI update for October 2023. A snapshot of news and views on what's been happening in the IBMI community in the past 4 weeks as reported by Proximity, your premier partner for IBMI solutions, support and development. Now we have a number of topics to discuss, the first being culture before code. The IBMI marketplace closely follows that, and then we've got the announcement of IBMI version 7.5 TR3 and 7.4 TR9. And then we'll have a quick chat about the rise of the subscription model. Let's get to it. Now, in late September, Andrew Clark of Arcad wrote an article on how the first steps in DevOps isn't in fact the tools, it's change in culture. In this article, Andrew explains that DevOps starts before putting in the tooling such as Git or Jenkins. In fact, the first step on the DevOps roadmap for most companies should be the culture change. Andrew explains that there are normally two camps in the IBMI shops. The IBMI people in one camp and then the non-IBMI people. Now, all we need to do is bring both parties round the campfire and start to sing Kumbaya from the same hymn sheet, and then all will be well. But the problem is that the non-IBMI people are already comfortable and are metaphorically roasting their marshmallows with established DevOps processes in place. And the IBMI camp too may have disparate systems that they use day to day. And both camps work independently, and both camps rarely talk. Now, as a result, you often find that the two teams actually have code bases that do pretty much exactly the same thing. They've written the same functionality but in different languages. Obviously, this causes problems related to dual maintenance of a larger code base. Now, to mitigate these problems, we need to get both camps working together and discover problems and plan accordingly early in the process. To mitigate these problems, both camps should work together and discover problems and plan accordingly. Andrew goes on to explain that for a lot of times, the IBMI is the right platform on which to implement those functions. Now, the article goes on to discuss the next steps in DevOps, but the crux of the argument is that setting the right DevOps culture within the business lays the foundation for successful delivery. Without solid foundations, your DevOps may falter and fall. Moving on, the 2024 IBMI Marketplace Survey is now open. I do encourage you to complete the survey. It provides a great snapshot of what the IBMI community is doing and where it's going. Now, while the IBMI Market Survey was released last month, on the 10th of October, Steve Will provided an update on the technology refreshes for IBMI 7.4 and 7.5. Now, details are available under IBMI support pages, but to provide a little insight, first on the database enhancements, well, they've been enhancements to the AES-256 encryption. We have a new CLOB-based scalar function for encoding and decoding HTML for SQL-based RESTful services. In addition, there are new SQL-based functions that accomplish a variety of tasks and are a replacement for CL commands and APIs across the operating system. On Navigator, we've a new Angular Java-based GUI, new table filters, enhanced DNS support, and new IFS functionality too. For HA and DR, IBM has a new job tracking feature that will provide automated tracking for certain job queues. There's a new IASP history synchronization function for HA environments and a new health center for views into products. In SysTools, IBM have added the dump plan cache procedure and a new command to show you all the journals that are participating in transactions. They've also added a generate spreadsheet, a new scalar function for creating spreadsheets, and a send email, a new scalar function for sending an email with an attachment from the IFS. RDI gained several minor tweaks too to clean up the user interface, and there's a new VS Code plugin developed by Liam Allen. Finally, we have a new version of Access Client Solutions that brings new capabilities to run popular SQL scripts, new insert for example options, and syntax compatibility with the latest SQL standard, amongst other capabilities. Now, for this month's feature, I'd like to concentrate on the ever-growing popularity of subscription services. Now, in today's rapidly evolving business landscape, companies are constantly seeking ways to optimize their operations while minimizing costs. One transformative approach that has gained immense popularity is the adoption of subscription services. Now, subscription services offer different benefits and possibilities, and with the delivery technology now mature, the subscription model has become a global phenomenon. The Economist reported in 2014 that the demand from businesses for new consumption models to replace traditional capex expenditure has been great. And it's not just in business, there's a cultural shift in traditional ownership. In France alone, half the people have shifted towards subscriptions, while more than 2/3 of German companies have invested in subscription services of some description. Nearly 500 billion was spent on subscriptions in 2015, with a figure set to double by 2030. So it's a growing market indeed. But is it viable for the IBM shop? Well, let's take a look at why IT decision makers are choosing subscription models. For this, we'll take a look at the results from a recent market survey by McKinsey. McKinsey asked decision makers for the top reasons for preferring subscription offerings over perpetual. At the top of the list was the flexibility such products provide and a smaller upfront cost. In addition, a reduction of costs and flexibility to discontinue subscriptions were a top reason too. This doesn't mean that there isn't room for capex, however, as at the bottom there, the indicator is that decision makers may use a subscription model to bolster or support their traditional annual capex budgets. Now, with this in mind, why should the IBM community look at subscription services to bolster their technologies? Well, I took time to speak with Paul Rufus, a colleague of mine and director at StreamTech, a subscription-based logistics solution based on the IBM, to find out more. Why do you think businesses would want to use a subscription model against a conventional purchase model?
Okay, so there's a lot of benefits to a business looking at a subscription model and purchasing a subscription model. Quite often, they receive the training, the support, releases, upgrades, those type of things actually bundle up into that subscription. Rather than using a capex budget and that's run out, you can actually use an opex budget with which to purchase that subscription. And there's also thinking about you as a consumer looking at a subscription that makes sure that the business providing the subscription, that the service that they provide is exceptional, the support they provide is exceptional, that they're making upgrades and improvements to the software on a regular basis. So it shifts that relationship more from an ownership one to one that's outcome based, and it also shifts that relationship to one of service and providing an excellence in it. And my thanks to Paul for his insight into why subscription services are compelling to business. Now, this hasn't gone unnoticed in the world of IBM. Indeed, earlier this year, IT Jungle reported that IBM were providing the IBM operating system and DB2 under a subscription model. Hot on IBM's heels, companies including Fresh also announced a change in their delivery model. So while subscriptions undoubtedly offer advantages like regular updates and the ability to try before you commit, the benefits of purchasing a product outright, including the ownership, cost savings and greater control, make it a viable and appealing choice for many IBM shops. The decision between purchase and subscription
ultimately depends upon your specific needs, your budget and preferences. But it's essential to weigh the pros and cons of each model to make an informed choice before you enter this increasing subscription-centric world. And that's it for this month's IBMI update. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. For more like this, please see the blog on the Proximity website. I'm Andrew Nicholson. We are Proximity, the IBMI partners that are in your corner. We'll see you next time.